Alrighty, item 2 of our agenda this afternoon is for the organization of the commission and appointment of deputies. Does the commission want to just sit out here and nominate our officers, or do you feel?
No, I think we can do it in the open.
Okay, alrighty.
I'll nominate you for chair,
Alright,
since you've been doing it a while.
Second, the history.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense.
Yep.
I know you don't want it.
Yeah. alright, and then, so then, what, do you want to make a nomination for one?
Why don't we move for you to be vice chairman?
That's fine with me.
Okay, and then I'll make you the clerk.
Yes, I agree with that.
So why don't you just make a motion, Joe, to do all those 3?
I do.
Okay.
I second.
Can you second that? Okay. Any further discussion? Not hearing it, all those in favor of adoption of that indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that vote is unanimous. Now we're going to appoint deputies, so let's talk about this for a minute, because I know you guys are new at this. The statute requires the commissioners to approve the nomination of deputies in certain departments, okay? In this particular case, I've been forwarded a letter by Pam Arnold, who's the treasurer. We have to appoint a deputy treasurer. The deputy treasurer has been Janet, and prior to Janet, it was Jean, who used to work here. Pam has requested that the Janet be reappointed
So moved.
as a deputy, so
Yeah.
moved and second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor of the nomination by the treasurer indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the vote unanimous. I've also been given a letter by the Register of Deeds. We have a similar situation there by Catherine Verity. She's she'd like to reappoint Lynn Williams as the Deputy Register of Deeds.
So moved.
And so moved and seconded. Any further discussion regarding that nomination? Not hearing any. All those in favor of the adoption of the recommendation by the Register of Deeds indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that vote is unanimous. Now, we have, the county attorney has a deputy as well. We have not received any correspondence from her yet as to when she's gonna have Jock Barth continue in that position, but I'm assuming she is, but we haven't got that yet, but when we do. There is one other statute, that requires the county attorney to meet with us when she hires new deputy. Oh, yeah, she is.
Speaking of the county attorney.
Right. So, we had a good lunch.
It was delicious.
So we were just talking about whether your deputy's gonna continue to mean Jock, or if you wanna take some time to.
No, yes, I nominate Jock and Barth to be my deputy.
Okay,
I'll make that
so
motion.
motion or second, okay. All those in favor then adopting the recommendation by the county attorney, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the vote unanimous. Okay. Done.
Yay.
Yay.
Was that easy or what?
It was easy. Just walk in and
All right.
get right to my
No.
business.
The sheriff, right? The sheriff has to nominate a chief deputy. We put a position in the budget for her, but we do not, approve that. We don't have any, she picks who she wants under the statute, so. All right, so I guess that's all for the deputies, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So item 3 is to discuss the Eugene Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, the JAG grant, which is an interlocal agreement with the city of Rochester for $20,000. This is a perennial grant, happens every year. In this particular case, the city of Rochester wrote this grant application, but the funds have to be funneled through the county in order for them to get it. So this is usually a housekeeping measure. They're gonna buy a utility task vehicle with it, usually leave it up to the department that writes the grant, what they wanna do with it. So it's a drawdown from the feds, that's what it is.
So make that motion to accept the grant.
Okay, second, okay. All those in favor of adoption of accepting the grant, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the vote unanimous. Okay, so it's time, now we're gonna talk about the budget. Under the state statute, we have to have the budget in the hands of the municipalities, and delegation by the 15th of January. So we've had the budget, in our possession. We've invited you guys all both in to go over the budget. Now it's just up to us to either approve it, amend it, change it, whatever we want to do to our proposed budget. So right now it stands a little over 4%. And I want to say for the record, in the amount to be raised by taxes, it's not a 4% increase.
Right.
of their present bill, it's in the amount to be raised by taxes by all property taxpayers, and we won't. I can tell you, like in the city of Dover, for example, the county tax rate dropped almost 50 cents in the last 5 or 6 years, because the way it's calculated out, it used to be 225 per thousand, it's down to like 175 for the county tax rate. So it's in the amount to be raised by taxes, not, so that doesn't necessarily mean that whatever you paid in county tax this year, that portion is gonna go up 4%.
Right.
It depends on the nature of how big the base is. So, I wanna let you guys know that, because there's a big difference between 4% increase in the amount to be raised versus the amount to be raised by taxes. It's different. So like I said, in Dover's case, the county tax dropped. We've got a lot of growth going on in Strafford County. As a matter of fact, in the last 3 years, the base of the county, the actual base has increased over 50%, roughly 50%. Am I right on that? About, I think it's close to it, right, Diane? Like 4 years, the base has gone up like 50%, the total tax.
I don't
base.
know what the percentage is. I know I had
It's-
given you the numbers, but I hadn't
Yeah,
calculated.
I think it's close to 50%. So we've had there's been a huge increase in values,
Massive.
massive increase in values of people's real estate, which has actually dropped the county tax.
Okay.
That's how the system works. Not got nothing to do with us. It's how Department of Revenue Administration sets it up. So, I know it's a short period of time, for you to, understand some of the nuances of the budget, because certainly in your case, Sean, you knew, Joe's case is a little different, because he was in the legislature for a while, he's on the delegation for a long time. So, it's just before us. I can entertain a motion to move it forward into present form, or we can amend it any way you so see fit before we send it out. So, yeah.
We should move forward on it.
You making a motion?
Okay, you want to move forward as it was presented to us during the
Yes.
process? Okay,
I'll second it for discussion.
okay, so
And I'm with you on that,
Okay,
in the discussion.
okay, so we'll start for discussion, so.
I mean, I don't see where we can cut, I don't see a bar. Yeah, you think we can cut?
Well, I've got a lot of calls from Rochester and Milton especially. And people that have mobile homes and whatever, they're getting hit hard. Every penny counts for them. And, the bill goes up from one case was, the tax bill was $400. It went up to $1,200 for their home. I mean, it's an old home. I mean, we just gotta be, it's other people's money. And we gotta be conscious of that. It looks like we're getting more revenue. We paid off the note on the jail,
Yeah,
which, I think that was over last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's,
and we have to pay people, we've agreed to pay our people.
The pay raises.
The pay raises.
well,
that's-
I can agree with that. I can agree with that, and I think that, it's important we keep the people we have, if they're good people.
Sure,
That's very important. I've shown that, especially in the office of the county attorney. I'm not afraid to pay people, and just like Chris's, $21 to $27 for starting pay. I mean, we got to do that. If you can go down to, Chick-fil-A and make $20 an hour, I mean, there's a big sign there. I mean, it's, we just
yeah.
gotta,
I know what you're saying, Joe, I don't have any. I feel what you're talking about. I think the best thing for the commission to do is try to work over the next 6 months to enhance our revenue position.
right, well,
I mean, that's what, because the expenditure side is pretty, I mean, Ray and I, over the course of the past commission, eliminated 15 jobs. So with that elimination, we didn't have many people to eliminate in the beginning. We've changed a lot of duties around, things that you guys aren't aware of, but that happened in the past year. I just don't see that there's any place, we'd have to wholesale get rid of something in order to drop it from where it is, something from in a wholesale nature. So I would recommend that we try to work on the revenue side of things, and work with the jail. I mean, hopefully with this new pay raise that we've authorized for the personnel of the jail, we'll be able to hire more folks. The same thing with Riverside, we try to enhance our the revenue picture so that maybe by next year we'd have a zero impact. But you have to understand something. One of the things that historically has happened here, and I can tell you this is the facts. And whenever I've cut the county budget, work with colleagues of mine to cut the county budget, the people never got the money. The towns and the cities spent the money. Now, right now, this county we've left millions and millions of dollars of revenue on the table to help the municipalities out there. And we did it, I hate to say it, but we did it on the backs of the employees, for lack of a better term, because we didn't pay them anything, okay? And that's catching up to us. Okay, it's caught up to us. And when you go to work for McDonald's or for Chick-fil-A or for Walmart for the same amount of money as a starting wage of a correctional officer, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, we kind of ran that pony. That pony's dry. Okay, we run that dog down the track here. So, to me, we need to be looking and focused as much of our attention moving forward is on revenue. Where do we get the additional revenue? I truly don't believe that, given the nature of this budget, and I think it's a good budget, we've gone through a lengthy process. The employees they were all instructed to bring the zero base all their budgets. I don't want to spend any of our time trying to cut $200 here, $300.
No,
It doesn't make sense. If you're gonna get rid of something, you've got to wholesale get rid of something that we do. Save $200 here, $300 here doesn't have any impact. And the sad part about it is the public won't get the money. I remember one year when I was sitting with Paul Dumont, we had $250,000, which is not a lot of money today, but back then it was a lot of money. And Paul and I decided to give it back to the towns and cities. So we cut checks to all the cities and towns, delivered them. Remember, Raymond? I delivered them. Delivered to the towns, the selectmen, the city councils personally went and delivered a check. Here you go. And they spent it. The county was broke. We had zero fund balance, absolutely zero fund balance. But Paul and I had a philosophy back then that you got to give as much money back to the people as you could. They never got a dime of it. They never got a dime of it. Okay, the towns and cities went and spent it on something else. So I don't have any interest in damaging our fiscal position any more than it already is, to weaken it any more than it already is. If we're ever going to build a new nursing home, whether it's next year, 2 years from now, 4 years from now, we've got to be on a strong financial footing so that when Moody's looks at us, our credit rating, we've got we're stable. Doing anything but wholesale cutting something is not going to make us stable. It just is not. So I'm going to support this as much as I don't like raising people's taxes, but I have to express to you it's in the amount to be raised by taxes, not necessarily the individual property tax. Like in this case, you're talking about this gal, this person, mobile home went up. It went up in value. It was assessed by the town. It went up in value. That value is happening across the county. The assessments, the assessments and taxation, they're two different things. So the assessments went up. Dover's tax rate went down, and in multiple years when Dover's tax rate went down, I can tell you the county tax dropped. The just dropped 50 cents. In Dover's case, I just happen to look at it because I'm a big property taxpayer, and so it dropped. It dropped, but they spent it. And
that's one of the things we're working at the state, because, I was still working on this year's budget or this term's budget. And, that's one of the things we fight with. If you remember, we had a $363 million, swept tax.
Yeah.
That's how much is dedicated. So at the legislature, we said, well, we'll cut $100 million. It had no effect on the cities and towns, exactly what you said. They spend it. So we got to figure out a way, working with the state, to figure how do we get it in taxpayers' hands. That's what we got to figure out. And I agree with you on that account.
Yeah, and I think
now, another question I have.
Yeah.
Now, my first term, we cut it by your budget by $726,000.
That's correct.
How did you make out?
We laid off 56 people.
We laid off
56 people.
56 people.
So they were making $10,000 a piece, roughly, 10, 15?
No, it was more, it was more than the cut of that, it was,
first of all, we didn't do it till half the year was gone by,
right.
remember? We
didn't
can't,
happen till-
Well, I mean, you passed the budget in March, so.
I understand, but we have to give, we didn't expect it. We had to analyze where it was coming from. And then we have to give them notice by county policy.
Right.
So it was
So it was half
in
the year.
July before
The
these
people
numbers
left.
of people left.
We wholesale cut a lot of programs out.
And,
And matter of fact, those programs that we cut out have been cut out, they never came back. We never funded them. So,
Do we miss them?
well,
well, no,
it's, you asked a question,
Right.
Commissioner, about, what are our plans for, replacement of people that are leaving? And I told you then, we don't have any plans for replacement of people that are leaving, because I don't have anybody to cross-train. I don't have anybody that I can move from, cross-train with someone, because all those people are gone. So I don't know, what will happen, as key management people retire. The one thing I can tell you, the greatest is, don't lose that woman.
right.
You lose Diane and,
There'll be three
and
people replaced.
there'll be at least 3 people to replace
If
her.
we lose you, there'll be a minimum of two people.
Well, I'm the only one left that does both jobs out of any of the 10 counties. So, but that's here nor there. I guess the point is that what that's done to us, or what that's done to us is it's cut out any opportunity for succession planning. We just can't do
And
it.
we don't have any.
I don't have any way to cross-train anybody.
I guess the point being is that along with that cut, Joe, we've had a long history of keeping budgets, working with the delegation under control. And eventually you hit the wall. You hit the wall. And we're hitting the wall, okay? We don't have a ton of fund balance like a lot of municipalities do. A lot of them tucked away their ARPA money. They did
I mean, like Rochester.
like Rochester, right? We don't have that, okay?
What is our,
Where, I don't know, about it was 2.8 last time I knew. I looked at it, but they require us to have it between 8 and 13%.
Well, we're not anywhere near that.
We're the Gatsby
you know,
is,
near 8?
Oh, no,
no,
not even close.
5?
No.
we're probably at 3.5, 3.
And after the close at 24, we'll be less than that.
Yeah, we don't have any.
What about 3 million roughly?
No,
I'll give you the exact number.
Oh, good job.
So anyway, you can't be.
2.5 million, just a little.
That's
over
at the end of 23.
Yes.
And then we've used some of that. You remember you voted for it.
Right.
Well, you didn't vote for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It passed but we used some of that money, to fund certain capital projects in 23. Now, I put a stop to some of those capital projects
Right.
because I was afraid that we wouldn't have enough money to finish the roof.
Hmm.
And by the time the delegation voted on the bond to finish the roof, it was too late to spend any of the capital money, because I had to reserve that because we couldn't not pay the vendor. So that saved some of it, but there's no question it's gonna go down from the 2.5.
And while we're right here on that roof, I want to thank you for acting very quickly to writing that letter to the governor, to Gopher.
Oh, thank you.
And, because, hey, you give credit where it's due. And that, we did get the $1.4 million grant.
And we're gonna
And
spend,
It's because you acted very quickly, which
Well,
I appreciate that.
your counterparts in the legislature were really helpful. But we're out the bid, the documents are signed. We had time to bid it, which is a good thing. We had 10 bids. And
that's April when we're gonna start.
I would, it might be a little sooner. We're more interested in, maneuvering the antennas, which is things that I know the sheriff will get involved in, because we've already started to talk to Justin about, lifting the antenna so we can roof under it. but I know he's working on pricing for that. And we have a little bit of money left over in the 1.4 to be able to fund that. So, but I know Justin's working on it.
So where's the 24 undesignated fund balance? Where is that? What, you have an estimate?
No,
That's 23, correct?
That's for 2023, yes.
Right, so yeah, we won't know that for a while.
It will not be more than that, though.
No, we should.
It'll-
Approximately the same amount.
no.
It'll go down, as Ray said.
Right, so it's not, we don't have any cash, we're cash flow.
Mhm.
That's-
Once we start looking at some of that ice money.
Well,
that's-
if we can, that's why I'm talking about the revenue piece of it, if we can work on trying to build revenue.
Yeah.
Okay, we really don't have an expense issue, and to your point about, well, what did we miss? During that process, we wiped out a lot of positions. I'll give you an example, we got rid of the switchboard at nursing home, well, that saved us 5 positions, as one, but when people walk through the building, now they walk in, we use technology to get rid of that, so you know when you call in a nursing home, they say, dial 1 for this, dial 2 for this, dial 3 for this. We ended up moving to that type of system, where we had human beings that would answer the phone and, you know, be kind, and it was a different way to do
Well,
it.
one of the only issues is, of course, when somebody comes to visit
They
after
have
5
no-
o'clock,
They have no idea.
they have no idea where to go.
No, at least they would come in and say, I'm here to see so-and-so, and they'd say, okay, we'll go up the elevator and take a right, there's nobody there, there's nobody there. So when they come in, if they don't know where they're going, they call them.
We ask them to call the supervisor, but
They call the
if they don't
supervisor.
look to see the phone, you know.
Right.
I mean,
That's-
families, we certainly educate them at the time of
Right.
admission, so they know how to do it. It's the, you know, the different visitor,
Right.
you know,
We wiped out a lot of social service programs that the county was funding that, at the time, that the delegation would always, the county commissioners, we would come in and cut them out of our budget. And our proposed budget, and the delegation would restore them, okay? Well, they didn't have an opportunity to restore them that time because they cut the budget so badly, so we took all those agencies that we were funding that had some impact on county operations and got rid of them, we didn't fund them anymore. CAP.
Cooperative extension,
Yeah.
meals on.
well,
Well,
we still fund
we
them.
still fund them in a different way.
Right,
I'm trying to remember a bunch of others we got rid of. There was like 6 or 7 of those agencies we got rid
domestic
of.
violence. was
Because
it?
we went, then we tried to cut domestic violence program. We went to cut it because it wasn't our responsibility to run. When we went to cut that, you know, we had a hue and cry. The chiefs of police all came in here and they're saying, you can't get rid of this. You're gonna drive this cost down to us. Because remember, a lot of these things get pushed down. The legislature last term pushed a lot of costs down to the local municipalities. What we were doing was pushing that cost back down to the local municipalities. Well, it's no different than dispatch. If we would eliminate dispatch and tell the towns they had to pay for it, all you're gonna be doing is pushing that cost down
Right,
down to the towns. So, there was a lot of things we got rid of, there was a lot of positions we got rid of. We got rid of, trying to do it by memory now.
We got rid of nurses' aides positions, we
aides.
got rid of positions at the House of Correction, we got,
Yeah, we got rid of a position in finance.
yeah, we did.
There was just a lot, but we got rid of a bunch of assistants. We had some assistants in the nursing not in dietary, but in laundry and sewing. We had an assistant's job there. We got rid of that. So as Ray said, there's nobody left to train because there's been a long history here of holding taxes down. And it's obvious by the nature of what Diane just told you, if we're gonna be less than 2.4 million in cash in the bank, that's nothing.
Well, that's fund balance. A lot of
That's
that's
not
account,
cash.
that, a
That's
lot
not
of that's
cash, right.
accounts receivable.
Right, it's account receivable. It's not.
Especially
Yeah.
at the nursing home,
Right.
that's where the big accounts receivables are.
And that's,
As soon as it takes so long to get people on Medicaid.
right, so, I don't know, there's nothing else left, we'd have to wholesale get rid of something, and I'm not comfortable in doing that. It's not something we have to do today either, I mean, we can talk about that over the course of time, whether we wanna, you know, eliminate a certain job or a certain position, we can work with the administration to do that. But to get started, to get out of the gate, okay, here, and to pay those wages that we've agreed to. You need the revenue. It's just as simple as that. I don't see it any other way, and I'm comfortable with it. Only because we had such a long history of trying to save the taxpayers' life. And it really irritates me because they never get it. They never see it. The towns and cities spend it. And I can understand why they do that. But don't be so naive to think that if we could cut this budget in half, shut half the operation down. The people would never see the money. The towns and cities would spend it. They would never see it. They never have, they didn't have it. They have it in 50 years. I don't know why this would change. It's not gonna change because they got their own issues to deal with. So with that said, I'm comfortable with the budget the way it is. And, I just wanna work with you both to try to enhance our revenue opportunity. And wherever I'll tell you one thing that we should be doing that would save us probably $600,000 or $700,000 a year. That's 2%, 8%, well, 800,000 would be 2% of the tax rate. And I know you're against this, is, the solar. We had projections that we save somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000 a year in electrical expenses. And there's a classic example. That should be a no-brainer, but we had people that were upset and didn't want us to do it. We're gonna have to revisit that.
Well, we need the information.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, we haven't got the information yet, but we're gonna get it because last year we applied for a federal grant. That grant is sitting there, the feds got to pick. We were awarded the grant. But the feds decide who gets hired. We don't. So they get to hire the consultant that's gonna work with us. Now, Ray's been on the phone and Diane's been on the phone with them the last 2 or 3 months, and I've been pushing them to say, get that consultant out here to tell us what we can do and not do. The taxes.
The next meeting with the consultant will be with all of you. We simply did the legwork to get them prepared. I'm sorry, I thought I shut this off. We simply did the legwork to get them prepared.
Right.
And that legwork's done. I answered their last question yesterday. But I told them that the next meeting, because it's Zoom, they're in Colorado. The next meeting is Zoom with everybody. So you'll get to hear it yourself. And there'll be a written report.
Is that grant still available?
They've got,
Well, they've
and we're not paying a nickel for this.
Right, we're not paying any.
They've been awarded that grant and the feds pay them directly. It doesn't even go through the county. Because if it went through the county, I would have to put it in the budget, get it approved, and then have an offsetting revenue.
Right.
But they pay directly, so it doesn't come to the county.
It's a $77,000 technical assistance grant from the Department of Energy.
Now, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Who owns the asset of the
Well,
solar panel?
We don't
This
know
is
that.
part
That's
of what,
their analysis.
Oh, okay.
that's
Whether-
part of what, part of,
Whether the county should own it or whether the private sector should own it.
Right, because it's responsibility if we take it on.
Right, I want the private sector to own it, because I'm a big private sector dude, okay, myself, but it's a decision the three of us would have to make.
that's one of the questions we asked them.
Right,
Okay.
To do that analysis of what would be the better way to do it and what would be most beneficial to the county.
Okay.
So when they do the presentation to you, that's one of the questions they're gonna have an answer for.
right, they'll say, well, if you own it yourselves, it'll go this way. If you give it to the private sector and give them a lease on the land example, it'll go the other way. I mean, I've had 10 solar companies contact me in the last 3 months.
I just got a letter today.
Okay, they contact me all the time, they call me on the phone, I had a call 2 days ago from some outfit out west who wants to build solar because they're a private equity firm.
Yeah.
Because they get a 30%, well, they were getting a 30% write-off for all the capital they put in 1 year, the first year, 30% off, so there's a lot of hedge funds that are invested in this, and so, but anyway, that consultant, when we meet with them, will give us the answers to all these questions as to what, whether we should own it or not own it.
That's all the
And
question.
keep the delegation informed. I mean,
We
that's,
will, as soon as we find out.
yeah.
We don't know.
because I think, last term, it doesn't seem like we got all the information we should have got. We didn't have the answer, so you can,
Right,
you give us the information on the day we're supposed to vote on it. That's not a good scenario.
well, I'll leave this with you like this, as soon as we have that meeting and we look at the options, we have to make a decision on what we want to do.
Right.
And then once we make that decision, we'll present all that information to the delegation and we'll give them the options. We'll show them the three options and the one we pick and the reasons for it, you know, and then we'll just let it go. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Like I said, the next meeting's with everybody.
The good thing about it is if the private sector builds it, we don't need 2/3 vote. We need a simple majority. You don't need 2/3 vote. All we have to do is have a simple majority, we'll lease them the land and we're done. There's no arguing about the public financing of the project or the fact that we have to have 2/3 vote. We won't have to sit there and argue back and forth, you know, through all that wrestling. So anyway, I mean, there's one opportunity there. I mean, we can have a discussion regarding dispatch and whether it should be just run by the towns and taken out the county's hands. That's,
Well, I think I've always been for the dispatch. It's been a great asset and the cities ought to take, one of the problems with Butler, Pennsylvania and the assassination attempt was they couldn't talk to each other.
yeah, it's still.
And I mean, in real time. And if you can't do that, you see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Bad things happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So anyway, with that said, is there anything else you guys want to talk about as far as the budget goes? I think I've offered what the only solution I think that there is, short of wholesale cutting something, is we have to work on the revenue and we have to work on reducing expenses during the course of the year,
No pressure there, Chris.
wherever we
Yeah,
can.
I'm not feeling it.
So that's where I'm at. So,
I'm good on the budget. I'm gonna work on it.
Well, I'm gonna vote against it for the reasons I've given. You know, I think we can, I know, I've been doing budgeting for a while. And one of the things you always ask for, I know with the service, you always ask for 10% more than, and hopefully you get the same or,
yeah, we don't do that here though.
well, but it's, you know, I didn't see no change and we cut it by 726,000. You might have cut some jobs, some things maybe we didn't need that it doesn't show now. So, you know,
Well, it got absorbed by the pay, it's gonna be absorbed by the pay increases. That's the.
I get that, and I'm fine with that, you know, if you can show me, you know, the idiosyncrasies of that budget. That, you know, we can, that we absolutely have to have it,
That's gonna take time.
and I'll learn, you know, you know, I'm good, you know, I wanna see, you know, I don't wanna see a bunch of overtime, because that's depressing, you know, I went through that at the shipyard. You know, have to work forced overtime, I mean,
You're gonna hire people.
that's true, and that's what we gotta do, we gotta make sure that,
Well, that's what we did with the pay increases, but you know, again,
Well,
the money doesn't come out of thin air, it has to come from someplace, so. In any event, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and, you know, if you don't wanna vote for the budget, that's fine. Yeah, the budget has to go out, because by law, we have to get it out. So I'm gonna leave it the way it is, are you comfortable with it? I'm comfortable. All right, so I'll just have the record reflect that you don't support the present proposal, okay? Okay, and that's 2-1, right? You
I'm
good with that? Okay. All right. We got any upcoming events? No, we got any old or new business we need to talk about? You guys don't have any old business because you just got here. Yeah,
real old.
yeah. Okay, do we have anybody in cyberspace, Kelly?
No one has joined.
Alrighty, so we have any questions or comments from members of the public regarding the agenda? Not hearing any. I gotta sign this for the sheriff, yep. This is the grant we just approved. So this is the 8th.
Yeah, don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake, right?
I made that mistake.
It's-
You're right, Sheriff. Anything you wanna, Emily, you have anything you wanna add, or Sheriff? Anything you wanna add at this point? We're good? All right,
George, are you going into executive
Yes,
session?
yeah.
Because I have.
Okay, you got, I think we have 6 things you tried. Yeah. All right, so the chair will entertain a motion to go into non-public session. It's moved by Commissioner
Can I
Levitt.
just have one thing,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I said it this morning, but I'll say it again. We're expecting our annual state inspection at
Yeah.
the nursing home. Anytime, day or night, weekends. I expect, we're gonna get an off hour. I fully believe we'll get an off hour inspection, and I fully believe that it'll be accompanied by federal surveyors, or we'll have a regular inspection and the feds will come after. One or the other. They go after low-rated and high-rated nursing homes.
Right,
and because
we're high rated.
we're high-rated, we're a logical target for the feds.
Yeah, they're a logical target to knock us down, I think. That's what they do.
Well, you guys have been doing all right, you've been getting good reports, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
it can't
definitely,
be that bad.
no.
All right, so you all set then, Ray?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, you want this, but I don't want to shut you off.
No,
Anything else?
done. Thank you.
Anybody else? No? All right, then Chair, you got a motion by Commissioner Levitt, moving to non-public session for purposes of discussing personnel and contract negotiation. You second that?
I second.
I don't think I have
Okay,
any.
it has roll calls required, Commissioner Levitt, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, myself, yes. Okay, the commission will retire out of executive